Well, welcome everyone to Love versus Hate. My name is Anne, and I'm your old-fashioned nerd.
And I'm Emily, your mainstream millennial.
And on this podcast, Emily and I like to debate, and we like to argue about all the things in life that we love and hate.
And we always try to find some common ground, but sometimes it's hard to do.
Yeah, and today we're going to be talking about YouTubers. Now, we've talked about YouTubers before in the past, but there's obviously a lot of YouTubers out there, so we like to revisit it and share with each other just more awesome people who are doing, honestly, for nerds, kind of weird things on the internet. I don't know about mainstream millennials, but
I don't know how mainstream one of my YouTubers is.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm this might be like a nerdy thing for me to talk about. I don't know. We'll have to see. But
I'm excited.
Yeah. But Anne, do you watch YouTube a lot? Like, are you subscribed to people? Do you have like subscriptions?
Yeah, I am, but I don't really keep up with it. I'm really not a YouTube person in general. So the people that I'm talking about, I've watched a few of their videos and I like them, so I can talk about them, but I'm not like a diehard fan. I really don't have anyone that I follow on YouTube that I'm like a diehard fan of because I don't know. It's just, I'm old fashioned. What can I say? I'm not a modern nerd. Like, I just don't nerd over YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, YouTube is probably my most used app. Like, I subscribe to a lot of people, and I watch, like, if there's somebody that I'm really interested, like, or connected, or I like their videos, then I will watch almost all of their videos. Unless it's something I'm like, this is a waste of my time, or this doesn't apply to me.
Wow. Yeah,
but
see,
normally I'm like, yep, I'm watching their video. Add it to my watch later.
Yeah, see, I don't really watch YouTube.
I just love it. I watch it while I'm getting ready. I watch it while I'm doing laundry. I watch it while I'm doing the dishes. Like, I literally watch all the time. And I always watch it on 2x speed.
So this is my thing. Like, if I'm going to watch something, I'm going to watch a show or a movie. Like, I'm not watching YouTube. Like, I'm watching my animes or
like,
TV shows.
If I'm sitting down to watch something, I'll watch, like, a show. But if I'm, like, doing other things where I don't need my full attention, then I'll watch YouTube.
That's very weird to me. I don't do that.
It's my way of life.
That is a more a millennial thing, I feel like.
I'll either be watching YouTube, listening to a podcast, or listening to music.
Yeah, occasionally I'll go on YouTube and I have like a few things that I kind of keep up with, but really not a lot. I don't know. It's just...
Yeah, I feel like usually, if I ever go on your computer at work and you're logged in, it's like... like the recommended videos are just like songs, like long playlists.
Yeah, before I discovered Spotify, which was a recent thing for me. I know I'm way behind the times, but before I discovered Spotify, I would use YouTube a lot to listen to music and listen to playlists and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be primarily what I really used YouTube for. So
that's so cute.
I know, but then I discovered I know. I'm old fashioned. But then I discovered Spotify literally in 2020.
Thanks to me.
Thanks to Emily primarily, yes. And I've become obsessed and it is my favorite thing. And I tell everyone about it and they're like, yeah, I've known about it for 10 years. Where have you been? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
So Emily, why don't you start? Who's your YouTuber? Who are you talking about? What's this mystery person who I may like because they might be nerdy?
Okay, yeah, I'm going to start with them. So the channel name, what is the channel? Oh, yeah, okay. She has a different name on her Instagram than her YouTube, but her YouTube channel is called Gabbyreads. And it's a booktube channel. It's all about books.
Oh my gosh, you would love this.
This is where I get all of my reading recommendations is from BookTube. I actually follow a lot of booktubers, but I think that Gabby is my favorite because she's the same age as me. So and she loves Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh. So basically we're the same person. And her reading taste is very similar to mine. So she does videos on like her TBRs, which is her to be reads for the month. And then she does like her wrap-ups. So she talks about the books that she read, what she likes. Or she'll do reading vlogs where she'll just like show everything like of her week or the month or whatever. And she'll talk about the books that she's currently reading. Or she'll do like challenges where she reads like books outside of her comfort zone. Or she'll have to read like as many books as she can in 24 hours. or she'll read books recommended by her subscribers that she wouldn't necessarily read. I don't know. She's just like, I really like her personality, and she's super real and not like fake. Like a lot of YouTubers like come off as like fake for the camera to be all like, ooh, but she's like super real.
Oh. I didn't know BookTube was a thing.
Oh my gosh, I love BookTube.
What's BookTube? I literally have never heard that term ever in my entire life until you said it in this moment.
It's just on YouTube, there's people who have channels that talk about books.
I get the concept. BookTube, got it.
Well, then what do you not understand?
Well, no, it's not that I don't understand. I just didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and like, it's just crazy because a lot of them, like, over the pandemic, since they didn't really have anything else to do, they would host, like, lots of live shows. And so that's how I got to know a bunch of other booktubers because they all came on. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at all of them. How many more recommendations can I get? So, yeah, that's kind of, like, my nerdy, like, I nerd out. I'm like, oh, Gabby uploaded a new video. I got to check out her new thriller recommendations. Oh, and she does these really fun videos where it's like a book for every song on Taylor Swift's Blink album. And she does it for every single album, every single song. And she's like, this book reminds me of this song because of this. And I'm like, oh, that's so fun. I would never be able to do that, though, because I can't remember anything that happens in books like 2 months after I read it. I'm like, yeah, I read it. Do I remember what it's about? Not exactly.
No. Yeah, I know. Your memory's a little weak there, but... Oh my gosh, this girl literally, like, I know Jenna Fisher is like, you know, the peak of your, celebrity crushes, I guess, or I don't know what term, but like, it sounds like Gabby is basically you.
Yes, she and I are very similar, I feel like. The only thing is she also kind of likes, what is that word? Is ASMR, like when you're like.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes she makes those videos, and I'm like, no thanks. So I don't watch those. But all of her other videos I pretty much watch.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. I honestly am intrigued. Mm-hmm. I would watch them. What kind of books does she talk about? Like, is it just thrillers? Does she do other stuff?
Yeah, so she likes, most of her books are thriller, romance, contemporary, literary fiction. And she likes a lot of, like, she really loves diversity. So, like, either diversity in the character's gender or sexuality or, like, the author diversity and stuff like that. She also has a book club called the Book Troop where every month they read, like, a horror thriller book. So that's kind of fun. I've never been a part of it or, like, read the book at the same time, but that's cool that she does that.
Oh.
So yeah, because she doesn't like fantasy, which, same. I mean, I do like Harry Potter and I like Percy Jackson. I just actually watched one of her videos this morning and it was a book tag. And she's like, what kind of books would you never read? And she's like, I would never read any fantasy.
Oh my gosh, okay, I don't like Gabby anymore. I was intrigued before, but as soon as
she likes sci-fi, but she doesn't like fantasy. Like, if it's fantasy or it has fantastical elements, it has to still be in, like, a real world life. Like, it can't be completely not real. Like, it has to be some sort of real life element so she can connect to it in some way.
Okay, well, I strongly disagree with that point, but I guess to each his own. You can totally connect with fantasy just because it's not real life. You can 100% connect with it. You can connect with the characters' emotions. You can connect with their struggles. You can connect with their conflict. You can even connect with, like, you know, just what they're experiencing, the adventure that they're going on. Just because it's not real doesn't mean it's not something you can connect to. Gosh.
Well, she has a hard time connecting with that.
All right.
But she did say that she didn't like one of my favorite books that I've read this past year. So I'm like, okay. Well, in my defense, she read it, like, the actual book, and the book doesn't use quotations. And so she's like, I just really couldn't get past that. Like, it was so hard to understand who was talking, when somebody was talking. But I listened to the audiobook because audiobooks are amazing. And so, like, it was very easy for me to distinguish who was speaking.
Why wouldn't they use quotations? That's so weird to me.
I don't know. It was, like, an Irish author. So I don't know if it's, like, just an Irish thing or if it was just, like, a
lost in translation
thing.
Maybe.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my first one. If anybody loves reading and likes reading thrillers, romance, literary fiction, contemporary, definitely check out Gabbyreads on YouTube. Her Instagram is My Fictional World. Shout out to you, Gabby.
I like it. So the first person I'm going to talk about, again, I'm not a diehard fan. I have not watched all of their videos by any means, but the few that I have watched, I have very thoroughly enjoyed. And I feel like even I, as an old-fashioned nerd, have heard of this person because they're about as nerdy as you can get on YouTube. And if you're a nerd and you don't know this person, then I'm just very surprised.
It better not be the McElroys.
McElroys? It's not.
Good, because we've already talked about them plenty.
We'll continue to talk about them because you can never stop talking about them. But no, I'm going to be talking about the angry video game nerd. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
I'd be surprised. It's literally this guy, James, who basically, like, he finds these super old video games, like early stuff, and he will play them, and he just gets really mad because they're so bad. It's just really funny. One of my favorites, my brother is actually who introduced me to him. And one of my favorites was he had me watch the Superman 64. And it's just so bad. And he gets so angry and it's just really funny. It's just a funny concept. Like, he plays super old games. Some of them he loves. Like, you know, he's basically critiquing them. So a lot of the times he just gets mad because they're really terrible games. But sometimes he'll find like gems, you know, that have been kind of lost and nobody knows about. Like, he talked about Ninja Baseball Batman, which was an arcade game, and it was like he describes it as like the best game in the world, you know, but like nobody knows about it because it was an arcade game that wasn't really popular in America. It was more popular in Japan, and so there were only like, I think something like 50 or 60 units sold in America, something really low. So like, it was one of those things that nobody really knew about, but this guy, you know, he found it. Like, he literally finds like these niche kind of games and stuff like that. So it's really interesting because, you know, there's a lot of history. Also, he's literally been on YouTube forever. He's one of those guys who, like, you know, started in like the early 2000s, like 2004 and 2006. I think 2006 was kind of when he started taking off, but he started like even earlier than that. So he's just like old YouTube, and his videos are really funny. And he's literally just like a mega nerd, and he just plays video games.
What happens when he runs out of old video games to try?
He's done other stuff as well. He has more channels. He started as the angry video game nerd, but he also does Sign Massacre, and he does like other stuff as well. And he partners with people and does like a bunch of different stuff. So he obviously plays modern games too. But yeah, it's just really, I just find it very entertaining because he just gets really mad. And it's just fun because, again, like, you're kind of getting a piece of history while you're also getting like this entertainment aspect of it. Yeah. So yeah, and it's just really fun. And like I said, I haven't watched all of them, but the handful that I have watched, I've thoroughly enjoyed. And he's always like a go-to. And like I said, like total mega nerd. So
how long, like, are his videos that are with the video games? Like, are they really, really long, or is it just the highlights and the funniest moments?
They tend to be a little bit longer. They vary, but usually they're at least 10 minutes or more. But he's done like full playthroughs, so those are really long. Like, those can be hours long. So he'll play like a video game like from beginning to end, and he'll just record the whole thing. You can watch him play it through.
Is he a streamer?
I think he is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will stream on Twitch, but I don't think that like YouTube has been kind of his main focus. But aren't
you proud that I know what all those things mean?
I am. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You know, we're slowly but surely we're teaching Emily the video game and nerd world, and I'm just so proud of you.
And slowly but surely Anne's figuring out what Spotify and all these things are.
That's why we created this podcast, to teach each other things.
Yes.
So yeah, so angry video game nerd, definitely. You can't, you know, if you're going to talk about YouTube, you got to talk about him at some point. Because like I said, he's just like as original of a nerd as you can pretty much get.
The real question is, has he ever been on YouTube Rewind? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't know. I could try and look it up, though.
How many subscribers does he have?
He has...
Not that the numbers matter.
He has almost 4 million.
Whoa.
Well, I should say 3.5, I guess. It's 3.49 million. So he's got a decent following. And like I said, he's literally been doing YouTube for pretty much decades at this point. I mean, not quite a decade. Yeah.
Getting there.
Getting there.
Yeah, Gabby, I think, only has like 50,000 or so, but she's not that old of a YouTuber.
Yeah, I think a lot of his is just from being on for so long. And also, like I said, it's good content. It's really funny. And it's very different.
Yeah. I feel like when a nerd finds something, they're like, oh, I gotta tell the other nerds. About this.
Oh, 100%. We must share our nerddom with the world and let every other nerd know because they'll love it.
Yeah. So the other one that I wanted to talk about is, I don't know, like, it's hard for me to, like, guess what is a millennial channel because I feel like millennials just have so many interests and it's very broad.
That's true.
But I'm like, I don't know if, like, this would be considered a millennial channel, but I'm going to say it is. So it is the channel called Mr. Kate, and it's a husband and wife, Kate and Mr. I forgot his name. Joey. Okay. He's actually the drummer from Click 5, I believe, which you probably don't know who that is. But in Hannah Montana, there was a song called Pop Princess, Hold My Hand. And he's the drummer from that band. But anyways, so they're married and they go around and do all these like room makeovers or home makeovers. And so each episode, they have different series. So some of them will be it's called OMG, We're Coming Over, and they go to like another famous YouTuber's house and they like make over a room for them, or they have this other series where they go to like fans' houses that they submit and they do it on a budget, and it's just really cool to see. Like I like interior design and home decor stuff.
This is 100% without a doubt a millennial thing. I don't know why you were doubting it.
I don't know. I feel like I'm weird because I like booktube.
No, I love it. Okay, continue.
So, yeah, and so they just go and make over everything, and they always do one sort of DIY project, so they teach you how to either make something or paint something or do whatever. They'll give you tips, and like it's just really fun. I just love home design and like interior design, even though I'm not very good at it, but I like to think that one day I'll have a room that looks like what she created.
Someday, you never know.
And they always usually have a rug in the room, and when they pull out the rug on the floor, they'll do a little rug cuddle. It's so cute. It's like their like thing that they do. And now they have a son, and he's really cute, and his name is Moon. Which is kind of weird.
I was going to say slightly judging there. I'm sorry.
But he's really cute. And so now he's part of the rug cuddles. And it's just adorable.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that's something I could get into. But it totally 100% makes sense for you. Like that totally is.
Yes.
That I can understand why it would appeal to you. I think I would honestly kind of get bored. It's just not my thing. But
my gosh.
I know. Okay. I do appreciate cute things though. So if they were like...
So like the end product you would like to see?
Maybe, okay. Yeah. But the process to get there, meh.
It's just so interesting.
So yeah, I find history more interesting.
No.
Yes.
Well, maybe it's like the history of the room.
Item or the room, yeah.
Like,
maybe.
It started here, now it's here. That's the history.
Yeah, it's a little brief for me, but... I like to get down in the depths and like, but where did it come from? Where did the wood come from?
No. Oh, actually, here's another interior design type of a YouTuber. Her name is Exo McKenna, and she is like interior designer. She went to school for it. But now, I actually recently discovered her, and she does a lot of thrifting and like remaking items, but she just bought like this really old cottage, and she's like renovating it, but she cares a lot about like the history, and so she went and got photos of the house throughout the years to like see how it like progressed throughout the years so that she could keep some of it intact. Mm-hmm. And like the hardwood floors she wants to keep and like make it look nice again so that she can keep the original hardwood floors, and maybe you would like her a little bit more.
Yeah, and I will say, like, you know, just like the general public, if HGTV is on, like, yeah, I'll sit and watch it. You know, like, I do like to watch that stuff. I just would never follow it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't religiously be like, oh, it's Tuesday night, gotta watch whatever show is on at 7 o'clock. No, I don't even know what shows are on HGTV. I don't have TV, but I do have Hulu and Netflix, so I watch those home shows.
Okay, yeah.
Love it or list it? Yep.
Yep, that's a big one. Obviously the brothers, the twins.
Oh, yeah.
What are their names? Oh, gosh.
The Property Brothers?
The Property Brothers, yeah.
Oh, Extreme Home Makeover Home Edition, when that was on TV. Oh my gosh, that was my show.
That was a long time ago.
I know. I loved that show,
wow,
though.
Nostalgia hit.
It was so
Boom.
sad, too. Like, when you had to hear their backstories, I'm like... and then at the end, you're like, oh my gosh, they got it home.
They're just so happy. Yeah.
Okay, what is your other YouTuber you want to talk about?
So again, very nerdy, not as old school as the angry video game nerd, but again, another one. So like I said at the beginning, I'm not a huge YouTuber, but my brother is, and so he introduced me to both of these YouTubers.
You're not a big YouTuber, but your brother is? What's his channel?
Well, I mean, he watches a lot of YouTube, and he's always like, have you seen this? And I'm like, no. And so he shows it to me because he's like, and he knows my taste really well because we're both nerds, obviously. So he introduced me to this one as well. And I definitely I just love this idea. And maybe this could be a little bit of a bridge. Not really, but maybe kind of, because...
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, I kind of highly doubt it too. But anyway, I'm trying, okay, people? The channel that I'm talking about is the Stupendium.
The
Stupendium. It's a guy who basically he makes songs, he creates his own music based on video games, and they're really good. That's the thing. They're not just he's on Spotify. I actually have him. I have a nerdy playlist, and he's in my nerdy playlist.
Of course.
I know. And they're just they're really catchy, and they, even though they're about and based off of games, a lot of times they can kind of apply to real life too, which is why I like them. One of my favorite songs was from the game Frostpunk, which I've never played, but I watched gameplay of it. It's not quite the kind of game. It's more strategy and turn-based, where you it's kind of like Age of Empire, if listeners are familiar with that, where you are building up resources, and you have men, you're basically building a small empire, but it takes place in the freezing cold, and so you have this cold element that you have to deal with. It's super fun.
I like cold.
Yeah, but I just, like I said, I only watched gameplay of it because it's not quite the type of game that I would enjoy playing, but I really liked watching other people play it because it was just fun to see how they were building and what resources they were putting where and all that kind of stuff. And it's really cool, and I liked it. And the song is called Shelter from the Storm, and I highly recommend listeners to check it out. I think it's really cool because it talks about, how we had to leave London because we got froze out, and we it's just, I don't know, it's just so good. I love it. And he just creates these songs, writes them all based off of video games, and they're really good.
While you were talking, I was just thinking about how weird of a concept YouTube is. If you think about it, when you were oh, I just like watching other people play and see where they put their resources. What? Or even me watching people vlog.
Yeah.
Why do I care about this random person's life?
Or this random person who's hey, I've got some book recommendations.
Yeah, why? This this is crazy.
If you start to go down the rabbit hole far enough, why podcasts? Why are people listening to us right now? We're just talking about things we love and hate.
I know. Weird.
I know. You can go down a deep rabbit hole.
It's so weird to think about. If you think about it for too long, you're why?
The thing is, this is what my personal philosophy on this. People ultimately, at our very core, what entertains us more than anything is a good story. And a good story comes from people. It comes from people experiencing things and then writing about it, or maybe experiencing something and imagining something different, and so they put it into a fantasy world. Or maybe they experienced something and it was kind of scary, and in order to deal with that, they write this thriller. There's, it's just, story is how we entertain ourselves. And from that, we like to just listen to people tell us stuff. That's how I am with the McElroys. They just give advice on a show, and I love it because it's entertaining and it's fun.
Yeah, sometimes I find myself in a hole where like it's a recommended video because I watched something by like a band called Little Mix or something. I don't know. It's just what came to my mind. And it was like 3 times that Perry from Little Mix like impressed the audience like no other. And I was like, oh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, because you want to know.
Ah! And I'm like, yes, girl. And I'm like, why am I watching this?
That's the thing that traps you. It's crazy.
It's a black hole.
It is. It's crazy how technology knows what you're thinking and it knows what you want, and I don't like it. But crazy. It's so flippin' accurate. It's
just crazy. If I think about it too much, I may go insane.
Yeah.
Or I may just watch YouTube videos and get sucked in more.
Or you can just watch the Stupendium. The other thing, I'm going to just wrap with the Stupendium real quick. The thing I like about him too is not only does he write like actually good songs, but he puts on a production. Like his videos for just being a, kind of one-man band are pretty decent quality, and he'll like do green screen stuff and like he'll dress up in different costumes. Like he kind of goes all out for it. So that makes him fun too.
Interesting. I may have to check it out. May or may not.
Well, I'll make you listen to Shelter from the Storm because that's my favorite one. And then you can decide for yourself if you like it or not.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. So, Anne, what is your life lesson?
It's something we didn't really talk about, but talking about the philosophy and the black hole that is YouTube and also just, nerd content. And this is life advice for myself. I feel like there is a black hole that you can go down, and you have to kind of find the balance between enjoying that stuff, but then also living life to its fullest. Mm-hmm. So, and maybe that requires setting a time limit. Like maybe you only do 2 hours a day watching YouTube, or maybe you only do an hour, or whatever it might be for you. Or maybe it's only Friday nights, or whatever it could be. But like, I think finding that balance between getting enjoyment and letting it be a moment for you to relax, a moment for you to get some new energy, to get some good laughs in, but then also like, the real world still needs to be dealt with and still needs to happen. So find your nerds in the real world, because then we can talk about all the stuff that we watch, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, mine is kind of like along with that. So you don't forget about the real world. My advice, my life lesson is to, in order to spend less time on the app, watch your videos in 2 times speed. And also, I recommend putting headphones on so that you can do other things while you're watching it, like washing the dishes.
Multitasker.
Like, yeah.
Got it.
So then you're getting your real stuff done when you don't actually want to do it, so that you have some enjoyment while you're doing it. Mm-hmm. But like, you don't have to give your full attention to it.
I like it. We're just, real life advice givers.
Yeah. And now we're just going to go watch some YouTube.